This video is sponsored by Rocket Money. I'm someone that watches a lot of TV shows in my spare time, so that means that I'm subscribed to multiple streaming services. Recently, a new season of my favorite anime came out, and I was so amped to have a reason to go back to a streaming service that I hadn't been on since the show's previous season. I went there to sign back up for the paid version of the platform to find out that I've still been paying for that service the entire time. And this could have all been prevented if I had been using Rocket Money from the jump. Rocket Money is an all-in-one personal finance app that helps you cancel subscriptions, lower bills, and manage your money better. Rocket Money can identify all of your subscriptions in a single list. From there, you can select the ones that you don't want anymore, and Rocket Money may be able to help you cancel with just a few taps. Rocket Money can also automatically analyze your accounts to determine the optimal time to save, so you can reach your goals faster. You can choose your savings goal, pick a preferred frequency, and watch your savings start to grow. You can edit, pause, or withdraw at any time. To save more and spend less, join the over 5 million members using Rocket Money today. Go to rocketmoney.com/Kofie or click the link in the description to get started for free. Thanks again to Rocket Money for sponsoring this video. NBA 2K12 was a well-received video game for its time, and some even consider it to be the best 2K of all time. There was an improvement among the My Player mode along with the adding of more classic teams and levels. But more importantly, it was a great balance of simulation and arcade-style gameplay in my opinion. Yes, some of the moves were a little bit OP, but the gameplay felt fun and has held up throughout time. IGN gave it a 9.5 review, and the game was generally reviewed as great. It also occurred during a pretty fun time in the league. LeBron and the Heatles were doing damage to the league. The Thunder had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden all on the same team. And the Minnesota Timberwolves would trot out this lineup on purpose. And while there were so many great and broken players in this game, there was one player that I will truly call the menace of NBA 2K12. It's time to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, NBA 2K12, Rudy Gay. If you're new here, welcome in, and if you know me, welcome back. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning into this video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. We're almost at 100,000 subscribers. I can't believe it either. All right, let's continue to the video. Rudy Gay was a dynamic scorer for the Memphis Grizzlies who possessed the ability to dunk on anyone and everyone and could also score the rock easily at all three levels. He was also coming off a career year in my eyes, so I want to unpack that first. The 2010-2011 season had Rudy Gay shooting his highest field goal percentage and three-point percentage of his career up until then. Amongst the top 25 scorers in the league that year, Rudy Gay was pretty high up there in terms of his three-point efficiency. He's that little red dot over there, if you guys can see it. He also scored 20 points or more in 29 of the 54 games that he played in that season. Rudy wasn't a slouch on defense either, as he was 8th in the league in steals with 1.7 a game and averaged 1.1 blocks per game, also a career high up until then. Now, while this season was debatably the best of his career, he still didn't sniff the All-Star game as he finished 10th in fan voting amongst Western Conference forwards. Despite that, Rudy Gay was still a very highly ranked player, coming in at 86 overall, which landed him as the 4th best small forward in the game, behind LeBron James at 98, Kevin Durant at 92, and Carmelo Anthony at 91. Now, of course, those three are understandable. They're Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers. But Rudy Gay is not that far off from them. When you take the entire league into account, Rudy Gay is the 14th highest overall rating in the game. And yes, the overall depends on the position, of course, but I can't not mention just how good Rudy Gay was in the game at face value. And why was that? Well, it seems that Rudy Gay's 10-11 season really affected what his skills would be in 2K12. From NBA 2K11 to NBA 2K12, Rudy Gay went from a 73 overall three-point shooter to an 86 overall three-point shooter. That is a night and day difference in these games. Among small forward, Rudy Gay places in the top 10 for three-point rating, ahead of Durant, ahead of LeBron, and ahead of Melo. In addition to that, Rudy Gay is also one of the best dunkers in the game, as he's a 90 overall, putting him up there with LeBron James and only behind the likes of people like Gerald Wallace and Jamario Moon. In video games, a person that can dunk the ball and shoot the three at an elite level is someone that will always find their way in this version of exaggerated basketball, and the Rudy combination of that is pretty hard to find. In fact, If you take the 3-point rating and the dunk rating of all the all-stars in the game, you can see that Rudy Gay is in an area of his own. These are some of the best players in the entire game. Also, when you compare him to all the small forwards in this game, you'll see that he has a little bit more space around him. Also, this dot all the way over here is 72 overall Richard Jefferson. Fun fact. I'm going to talk about the gameplay as well. Rudy Gay has the purest jump shot form in 2K12, and that's not really an argument in my eyes. After my favorite game, which is NBA 2K10, 2K11 and 2K12 really made an improvement to the smoothness of gameplay across the board, and the overall smoothness of the game, where Rudy Gay's jump shot went so seamless with everything in his toolkit, was not to be overlooked. His jump shot was one of the easiest in the game to time, which really also lends well to his mid-range game, and makes him an absolute nightmare working out of the triple threat position. So there are a couple of things that factor into Rudy Gay's mid-range and isolation game. The first thing is the different types of shots that he could pull off. He has a great dribble pull-up. As you can see here, there's nothing higher than that. It goes from poor to average to good to great. He has a good fadeaway, a good spin jumper, a good step back, and a good runner if you ever need it. His dribble moves are good, but not great, and his animations are okay, but they get the job done for Rudy Gay, especially in terms of getting to his spots and being able to shoot over people or blow by people or be able to catch people off guard. And he might not have the biggest bag of tricks in the post, but he does get away with having a good post fadeaway, shimmy shot, and a good post drive. Rudy Gay also has the Elite 4 dribble pull-up move, which means that he's going to be able to get separation on the move, and him already being 6'8", 6'9", and having that high of a vert, there's not many people in the game that can block this shot. Now, the dunking part I find the most fascinating because even though Rudy Gay has a 90 overall dunk rating, he doesn't have any specialty dunks. So what that means is that he has a pretty standard dunk package. It's the Wesley Johnson package. But this dunk package really allows him to absorb contact and dunk over people rather than do the stylish and more flashier dunk. For example, here a specialty dunk is a 360 one-handed tomahawk. These are more of the stylish dunks, the 360 between the legs. Rudy Gay is not going to be able to do that in a game, but he's going to be able to dunk over someone with the Wesley Johnson dunk package. Another thing here are his hot and cold zones. As you can see, he has more hot zones than cold, which is always good. And if you can operate on this left side of the court, you're in a pretty good spot. He has 4 of the 5 3-point hot zones. For reference, a player like Mike Conley, who has an 83 3-point rating, only has 1 of the 5 3-point hot zones. And I don't know how much these hot and cold zones matter exactly, but they do make a difference. Now, there are a couple of gameplay mechanics that I thought were a little bit OP with Rudy Gay. I think the first thing is anything that involves a spin move. So if you could do a spin move dunk here, especially on the fast break with Rudy Gay, there was nothing that the defense could do about it. It threw off their timing, and there are not many animations in the game that can deal with it, especially with someone as tall as Rudy Gay. The other one's the spin move jumper. Was really tough with Rudy Gay as well. The fact that he could just stop on a dime in this game and then just turn up Rise and Fire made it really hard to guard him, no matter where he was on the floor. And as you can see here, the spin move dunk, each spin move had different times. So some spin moves would be faster than others. So it was really hard to time depending on what kind of animation you saw and got, because there were so many different spin dunk animations in this game, and Rudy Gay had a lot of them. And as you can see here in the post, all Rudy Gay has to do is face up, pump fake. It's easy. It's so easy with him. He's literally a player that takes what the defense gives him. Right here, you see how Brook Lopez is giving him too much space. That's easy. But yeah, some players in this game are not equipped to guard Rudy Gay. You can see here, too much space again. And the jumper is too quick. And with his post-up fadeaway, you can get a lot of separation here. It's really hard to guard. Even if you're taller than him, he just jumps higher. And he can fade over both shoulders too. It doesn't really matter. There's nothing this man can't do on the court. This is a player you cannot afford to give space in the game, but you also can't press him either. So in all seriousness, what do you do? Rudy wasn't a slouch on the defensive end either. He He had a steal rating of 84, which is the highest amongst players at his position. He also had a modest block rating of 73, which is a pretty solid combination of defensive abilities for a small forward. This also compiles with the fact that Rudy Gay was on the Grit and Grind Grizzlies, one of the best defensive teams of that era. Mike Conley, Marc Gasol, and Tony Allen were just a few big defensive names on that team, and Rudy Gay more than held his own on that end. This was one of the best teams in the game to use if you truly knew what you were doing, and I say that because it wasn't just an overpowering aspect like LeBron on the Heat, but rather you had to know how to stay in front, force turnovers, and work out of the post. This is a complete team, but it's a team that responded the most when you truly understood the controls of 2K. In 2K12, the post moves were advanced enough to where you could absolutely annihilate the opposing defender, by more than just pressing a button, by the way. You could use your knowledge of the right analog stick and fully play a game of chess with the opponent. With Rudy Gay, it was very normal to have a mismatch of some kind on him, whether out of the perimeter or in the post, which truly made him one of the best players in NBA 2K12 and one of the most memorable versions of NBA 2K ever. Thank you guys for watching to the end of the video essay. I really appreciate it. If there are any video game players that you want me to cover in this depth, feel free to comment, feel free to let me know, and I might get to it. Until then, I'll see you guys later. Bye!